I'm going to be honest, I rarely take the time to read, or maybe I should say I'm more intentional with what I read because I am super sensitive in recognizing the age and time that we're in now, which is the age of information and technology. And I feel one thing that really sticks out to me is just how much information there is out there across multiple layers, and even information that we don't see. There are languages out there that we aren't able to comprehend or articulate because it's translated in a way only our senses can pick up on and only our senses can engage with. So I feel that sometimes I'm caught between the idea of knowledge being power versus knowledge potentially adding to internal conflict that we're not even aware of. Which is why I feel like I do take the time to align and resonate, and why I shy away from references or people that are very good at like sharing, resources and, read this or listen to this or have you seen this yet? I very much shy away from that, only because I feel that not only is it an easy thing to do, but I also feel like it adds to a level of distraction and noise. And as much as people may feel that the reference shared is going to help or inspire or lead you to somewhere that you might not have thought out, sometimes I feel like life is less about thinking and acquiring knowledge. I think it's more about being and meeting the mysteries of life when they meet you. And so I feel like this is where I've landed with certain books that have come into my life at particular timings. And I think how I go about picking books is through resonating. And how I do that is if I've been feeling or thinking a thought lately and it's related to a book that has come onto my path in a very organic way, then I feel that that's fate. Because how is it that I am aligning with a book that is basically expressing and articulating the things that I've been thinking, So I leave it to energy, I leave it to frequency. I don't really go about acquiring knowledge as if it's fast food, because you can easily turn something that is very profound into something that is very synthetic because of how much you are consuming it. And in life, I believe that there needs to be intention with all things that you handle, because I don't believe that our intelligence is supposed to be exposed to so much in a short burst of time. And I think why I say that sometimes knowledge can be power, but then also the opposite, is because we don't really know how to expose ourselves to knowledge. It's almost like we bombard our intellectual mind with a lot of information. And that information can potentially be stored and is stored in your subconscious mind. But then it's almost what you do with that information. And sometimes I feel like too much distraction is not a good thing. Too much distraction for me personally reveals internal conflict. It reveals split personalities. It reveals split ways of thinking. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. I'm just saying that when you throw all the ingredients into a pot, you're never really going to understand the taste of what is being made, because everything is cooking at the same time and there are levels to everything. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a system to everything, regardless of how open and free willing we believe that we are. I really believe in the education revolving around slow exposure. So I bought this book maybe almost a year ago. It's called Time Forward. I stumbled across it in a bookstore that was in Brighton, and I'm just reading the itinerary of this book. And as it starts, it opens with what exists beyond the limits of our imagination. How has that imagination been shaped through the old world paradigms of dominant Western imagination? And then the last paragraph goes on to say, Time Forward comprises entirely new commissions and as such is a collaborative endeavour with the artists taking part who have shaped the narrative of the exhibition as their research and production has progressed. Will it manifest as a piece of theatre, a play, a dream? We will see. But it very much carries the deeper philosophies that I'm interested in self-reflecting, questioning where we are as society, and questioning or not how we go about being the change that we want to see. And although that phrase is used a lot, again, I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate things through the intellectual mind when actually it is very simple. It's more about us coming back to or going back to being human again, in a world that revolves around business, systems, corporations, machinery, and pretty much like everything that evolves around the Industrial Revolution. It's about seeing again, do you know what I mean? And like seeing from a sense of purity versus seeing from a highly curated, intelligent way of marketing. And I think sometimes we blur the lines, you know, everything that we see today has been set up through a marketing perspective. It's been set up as a way to sell. And that selling point also includes people. It includes yourselves. And I think this is the learnings and like the understandings of what I'm really getting to is like, actually, if we shift 1 degree to the left or the right of that, what could that world look like? So imagine a world that wasn't catered to sales or profit or business, exploitation, mass consumption, consumerism, capitalism. What would our intention be and what would be driving it? So if the goal wasn't money, what would we all be working on collectively and what would we all be doing with our time? Because actually, when you do look at that whole system, it's all catered towards technology. It's all catered towards speed. It's all catered towards consumption because all of those tools are used to exploit, to mine, and to profit money. So what would a world be like if, you know, if we did the opposite of that? If it was more about being a collective and actually like sharing our innate intelligence, sharing our love, sharing our emotions, helping each other build, coming from a place of, I guess, altruism, selflessness, being able to help and support in the right ways in terms of education, slowing down, regulating, interacting with nature or even just harmonizing with nature. So, this is where my mind goes and why I don't like to read a lot of things. I just prefer to read intentionally, you know. We're not computers at the end of the day. And I sometimes feel like if we're all just mass consuming information, it's almost like we're giving ourselves permission or allowing ourselves to be plastic, to be artificial technology. And I don't really believe that that's what we're here for. So as much as knowledge can be power, I also feel like knowledge can be used as a prestige in order to feel better about yourself. I think we do have like an interesting relationship between intelligence, being smart, being wise. And sometimes I feel like there's a very fine line between this genre or this type of character is pedestalized because it's almost like it's viewed as a token. It's almost like tokenism. It's viewed as a token as to, I'm gonna I'm going to give my attention to this person because they portray themselves in a way that is smart or intelligent, or they know more than me, or they can position themselves higher or better than me. And I feel like that is a dangerous thing. Is a very dangerous thing. And I think it's also, it can be viewed as a marketing stunt as well. So yeah, I'm just questioning a lot of those things, and just questioning like what we call intelligent, and like why we are so addicted to information, knowledge, gaining, studying, especially if we're not doing anything with it. So this is where I'm at.